Okay, so we're having a chat today because AP&S, you have announced your entry into the US market, semiconductor market. I guess it would be good to understand if you're able to share just the sort of reasoning behind it. What was the background to the decision to, open up within the US?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for the possibility to have this interview. So let's say for AP&S, we have a close focus and observing of the US market over the last years, and especially in the current situation of volume growing even in Europe, but also a lot in the United States. Let's say in the last 20 years, which the history of AP&S started in 2003, we have several times internally in the management and with the board discussions what should be the strategy, what should be the timing to enter the US market. And I think since I know in the last 10 years, we have it several times. And now we have the situation that the company itself, the company growing, the company structures itself allow us to do this on a proper way. Yes, so say 5 years, 10 years ago, when we do discussions internally, the first time it was only the half of the employees, half of the possibilities, and also in point of technology, not the company which we are today. And this gives us now, let's say, a good feeling to make this big step in a new market, in this case, in the United States market. And for sure, we will focus on it with our key equipment, with our key technologies for front-end application, advanced packaging applications, silicon carbide, or glass or panel technologies. So this will be the main drivers behind our ideas and even these technologies in the US market itself.
Okay, and in terms of other reasons, I mean, was it the fact that you had a number of customers? Because clearly it's pretty much a global industry. So do you have existing customers elsewhere that have presence in the US that were sort of asking you or trying to persuade you to set up there? And do you also see the opportunity to acquire significant new customers? So I guess, is it more to support existing customers or more to look for new, or just a perfect sort of balance of both sets?
Yeah, I think it's luckily both of them. So we had existing customers we have an installed base in Europe or even in Asia, which currently expanding in the US market. But for sure, we have also by today not customers, which has to be, and we hopefully have it as customers in the future, which are located in the US market. So this is our target, and therefore I say luckily it's a fact of both. Yeah, we have existing customers expanding in the US, but even we see many new faces, which we will be in the future suppliers for it.
Okay, and in terms of, I mean, you've announced you're launching or you're arriving in the US. So what does your presence there look like? I mean, location's the obvious place to start, I suppose, but also, I mean, is it just inverted commas a sales office? Is it going to be manufacturing, demo, customers? Yeah, what does your presence consist?
Sure. First of all, Phil, let me tell you that we are fully committed to customer satisfaction. We will support our customers regionally and locally. We are a global supplier, but we are local supporter of our customer needs. We are actively establishing regional sales and service centers for our already ongoing activities in the US. And also we are looking to establish fully covering West, Central, and East Coast sales and parts support center and sales and service centers throughout the US. Of course, as the market grows, we will review those activities midterm and adjust to market needs. And also, with qualified candidates here that we are looking for experienced, hardworking, fun employees and to support our field service activities. By all means, if you hear this, feel free to reach out to Tobias or myself.
And in terms, I mean, is there a headquarters location, the main head office for the US, or are you sort of, as you say, got several locations that are sort of equally important?
Currently, we are a registered New York-based company. The sales office, which I'm operating off, is located in Princeton, New Jersey. which geographically bridges a very good gap for our US customer base, not only time, but also distance-wise. The East Coast, it's a very strategic advantage position because of the 6 hours, respectively, the 3 hours to the West Coast versus Europe. That's a very good location to be very active in the European business with the headquarter, but also have a full workday, allowing us to cater from West Coast to East Coast with our customer needs.
And you've already explained a little bit about the plans, in terms of what you're wanting to develop there. How far are you thinking? I mean, you're going to establish, as you say, I think with some support infrastructure across there. I mean, is it out of all possibility that you might over time establish a manufacturing base? Is that or is that potentially, whether it's 5 years down the road, or is that in your thoughts, or not? It's going to be a sales and service organization very much.
And everything is possible in the semiconductor market, first of all. It's one of the largest, if not the largest, industry in the world. It's one of the most researched element in the world. If you would know about, if you would invest the same amount of efforts and funds in cars or planes, everybody would have like a self-flying car at the moment, as the industry has invested in silicon. So it's a very advanced, large investment that our customers do. And based on that assumption, we are looking where the customer needs are growing. Clearly, as you heard about, the activities in Arizona are extremely strongly supported by the local government, as well the customers and the federal government, but also one of the reasons why we chose New York is the activities in New York, particularly in upstate New York. They are very active, already ongoing activities with customers, but also there have been announcements for new fab manufacturing. So this is where we want to engage, and also where we are receiving a lot of pull from the US market to provide high volume manufacturing cleaning applications for today, but also for tomorrow's needs. And having said that, very actively working with our current and future customers. And I just want to ask you to stay tuned. There will definitely be more news to come and to follow up with you.
And in terms of the vibrant market, that is it another reason for being there? Is it any particular applications, any segments of the semiconductor industry that you see as particular growth in the US that is a good opportunity to serve? I mean, I'm thinking maybe of the electric vehicle market, but whether it's that or others, just your thoughts as to particular sweet spots within the industry.
Let's say we generally focus on the activities on the semi industry, on silicon carbide. So, and silicon carbide for sure will be at the moment the material and the devices which linked mostly to the electrical vehicle sector, to the power chargers, for example, like this. But we have not only one or two single technologies which we want to focus on. So there are many of them, and I think in the US market also many of them are on growing. For example, also the advanced packaging solutions or the advanced packaging benefits and requirements we see. We also want to be a partner in case of research and development activities. So we had in AP&S headquarters in the south of Germany, we had a demo center where we can do research and development activities, but also we want to do and want to see how the possibility to have such things on the US sites. And this is also one technology which we see could be a key and would be a key in the future in the semi industry.
And in terms of entering the market and making a difference, because I'm sure you don't want to just arrive there and be a me too manufacturer. What do you think are your particular strengths that will appeal to particularly obviously new customers? What is it that you bring to that market that's perhaps not there at the moment?
Excellent question, Phil. Basically, it's very simple, and this is also the base of our success and the focus. We are focusing and maximizing quality products, innovative technology solution for today and tomorrow's problem. And last but not least, which it's extremely important in the semiconductor industry, is we are striving to provide the highest throughput at the lowest operational cost for our customers. Okay, if you see this, we've been a center of excellence for quality equipment that have been built over the last 2 decades. And many of them, they are still in production for over 10 years and are being supported by the headquarters and as well in partnership with our customers. So the quality is by design to provide the best value for the capital investment that our customers have. And as well, you know, as we are progressing, every 2 to 3 years based on Moore's law, we see a tremendous effort in regards to innovation and also the need for our customer to be able to support them with innovative, future leading and enabling technologies. And lastly, some of our benefits are, again, in the design concept is the efficiency, the high efficiency of our design and of our equipment. And just to give you an example, we can produce and process 100 wafer batches at once. This gives us an extreme advantage in regards to the overall footprint inside the clean room, which is a very expensive space to install equipment. But also at the end of the day, customers are getting paid when they ship wafers. We process and ship a lot of wafers, and this is where we're enabling with our high throughput equipment to have our customers meet their deadlines and ship wafers on time.
Okay, and then just perhaps before we finish, a bit more general about AP&S. Now you've got the US presence. I'm just trying to remember, I can remember some of the countries and regions you're based, but perhaps you could just remind us, you know, how global is your presence at the moment in terms of, you know, where you do have bases?
Yeah, so here locally in the newspaper, the people every time write the high technology from the Black Forest. So we are located in the Black Forest, south of Germany, close to Switzerland, in a small village which have less than 1,000 people living there. So it's, let's say, really locally, really regionally. We started 2003, so 20 years ago. We had, in the meantime, established and start some other subsidiaries worldwide. So by today, we are more than 250 employees worldwide. We had the headquarters here in the south with 3 fabs, 3 manufacturing sites, the design department, process department, and so on, located here in the south of Germany. In Europe, over the last years, we grow on different sites. So we have each bigger semiconductor spot, like Dresden, like Villach, and so on. We had service desks with up to 7 engineers, process team, and so on. And globally, in the last years, in the mid of 2010, something like this, we started with our Asian activities. So we have in Singapore and in Malaysia, one of our subsidiaries with team, process, service, and sales, and in Shanghai in China. So the US is for us, or was for us, a logic step in the next market to have this global network and this global structure, and therefore we are really happy to do it now.
And you may not want to or be able to share it, but you plan, I mean, I'm thinking India obviously is a very big and growing market. Is that an area, a place where you might, you know, establish a presence, or I don't know if you maybe already do, and any other places where you can imagine that you might want to, you know, have a base in the future?
As said, I think we can look back to 21 years of well-developed technologies. We had in this time developed several innovations close to the customers. We are close in partnerships, not only as a supplier, also as an innovation and development partner. And this will give us the basement to be ready also for future challenges. I think one of this could be at all, as we said previously, the advanced packaging sector. So this will be in the next years something which we clearly take a look on it and want to be part of the activities.
Okay, and in terms of the technology roadmap, it'd be good to, again, if there's things you can share, whether it's specific solutions or just areas that you're looking at, you know, whatever you can share on the roadmap as to what we can look out for would be good.
Yeah, for sure. So there is on let's say 2 or 3 different steps, or let's say bigger steps, which we can focus and will focus on it. One of it is our solution for the electroless plating, for the electroless metallization. We have developed over the last years a platform which we can run 6-inch, 8-inch, and 12-inch. We can run wafer batch sizes from 75 wafers for 6-inch, for example, 50 wafers, 8 and 12-inch, and all of this in a fully automated solution. So you can integrate it in your fully automated fab loaded by the OHT system. And at the end, we can solve their very good results on the wafer basis, on batch basis. And at the end, on the cost of ownership point of view, long bath lifetimes, which give the customers really good cost of ownerships per wafer and per die. Dragan phased it out earlier. We had in the market since last year a new equipment. We call it Nexa Step, which this equipment we also have done 2 big steps. The 100 wafer batch size in 8-inch is something which we has in the equipment since many years, but now we had it combined with the newest technology of automation. So also this equipment is able to have an internal stocker unit, could be connected to the HMS or OHT system of customer sites, and with the benefit in a, let's say, similar footprint compared to wet benches, but with 100 wafer batch size and optimized recipes and process controlling to give a high throughput, let's say, on footprint and cost of ownership point of view. So this was, let's say, 2 examples of the equipments, but generally we do in the company over the last years development and activities to go more in standardization, coming more in solutions which are also in the installation phase, in the startup phase, reducing time, which means the customer could use the equipment earlier in the production. And therefore we all the time not miss the view or lose the view to also focus on 6 and 8-inch. Clearly 6-inch will leave in the market sooner or later, but the silicon carbide material thing show us that also 8-inch is not gone and will not be gone in the next decades.
Okay, and maybe just finally to wrap up, in terms of back to the US, if we were to have this conversation in 12 months or so time, what would you hope has been achieved in terms of the developing of that US operation? Again, maybe it's a secret, so you don't want to tell, but just if you anything you can share as to how many folks you might have and what kind of infrastructure you will have built out by then, be good to understand.
Yeah, so I think for us and for German mentality, we would not say we will be in 12 months the market leader. So our first job is to show in the US market and the US customer that we could be a good partner, that we could be a good supplier, that we have high quality solutions, that we have stable solutions. And this means to build up a partnership and trust. To give the customers trust that if they decided for AP&S, that they get solutions which they have the next 20 years, and they can also focus and working with us more than 20 years. So as Dragan phased out earlier, a clear strategy also is to build up service, spare parts strategies, different service centers, also let's say close to the customer sites. So this is something which we will do and which we will show in all the pitches in the next 12 months. So for sure, target is also to have in the next 12 months this possibility, showing this to customers, getting maybe the possibility to head the first project, and maybe in 12 months we're looking back to exciting journey which we have done until this time. And we build up, as I said, this trust on the customer side to show that the European supplier and maybe also the wording made in Germany is still linked to good quality equipment, that we have reached this and getting a good name in the market.
And just perhaps a sort of follow up to that. I mean, everyone's aware of all the different CHIPS Acts going on, and there's obviously a US CHIPS Act. I mean, is that something that you will be able to engage with, or you hope that you might be able to, whether directly or through other partners? Is that a sort of opportunity for you?
Sure, it's we have in Europe also the CHIPS Act. So generally, for all the semiconductor companies, even the chip makers or the device makers or the equipment makers, it's something we take a look on it, but it is not our priority number one, or let's say the focus number one, which we see, okay, there is an American CHIPS Act, now we have to go in the US market. That is not its situation, let's say. So it's as previously a combination of both. The company now is in the position and in the organization structure to do this step. We had customers which enlarged their capacity and activities in the US, but even as I said, we see that we are able now to do this step in this market, and we do it on a good feeling.
Okay, I mean, it's been lovely to chat to both Tobias and Dragan. So enjoyed the chat, and you've given us some great insight into what's going on. Then I say whether we talk in another 6-12 months, be good to understand what else has gone on. But it sounds like it's a busy time for you both. So thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
Phil, thank you also. Thanks a lot.
Pleasure talking to you.